Coming up in this edition of Ball State Sports Links Be a Fan, we'll learn the story of a diver who overcame a horrific accident yet continued on the board. And we're going to introduce you to men's basketball player Chris Bond as we continue our 13 and 13 series. All that and more coming at you on SportsLink.
Ball State Sports Links Be a Fan is driven by Muncie Nissan.
Hello and welcome to the November edition of Sports Links Be a Fan, driven by Muncie Nissan. I'm Ashley Reed.
And I'm Pat Boylan.
Pat, thanks for joining us. I know we're switching things up a bit this month, but we're glad to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's good to tell the best stories in Ball State Sports Link that we have this month, and one of those being about football player Joel Cox and the journey that led him here to Ball State.
We'll also introduce you to track and field athlete Emilee Zets as part of our In Focus series and continue with our Sounds of the Game segment. Pat, let's dive right in.
Originally defensive lineman Joel Cox never saw himself as a Ball State Cardinal, but after a string of bad luck with Army, his first and only commitment, Cox landed in a perfect situation. Learn more about his story in this story, A Second Chance, produced by Josh Blessing and Chris Kaczynski, presented by Fox College Sports.
Life is full of obstacles. How we answer back from personal adversity is key to how we write the story of our lives. For Joel Cox, his story is defined by a second chance.
Joel was a kid out of Center Grove that we looked awfully hard in his junior and senior year, and just myself being the recruiting coordinator, I had a chance to watch most of the tape of the kids we were recruiting, and Eddie Faulkner was actually his recruiting coach at the time. We recruited the Indianapolis area, and thought an awful lot of them, and just through the recruiting process, it's a relationship building process, and Joel and his family had a chance to come to campus a few times and had a chance to meet him and knew he could be a good fit at Ball State.
After winning a state title his junior season, Cox had an even stronger senior campaign. He recorded 61 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, and 3 forced fumbles. His success tabbed him as Indiana Mr. Football for the defensive line position.
Hard work has really paid off for me, and I was glad to accept it, but also knew that there are a lot of other people just as deserving as me in the state, and I just did my best every game and ended up getting the award. But I know there's a lot of kids out there that were just as talented as me.
He had numerous offers from other schools, but Cox had already committed to Army and prepared himself mentally for the academy. But physically, there were obstacles.
In the middle of the winter, I was weightlifting and stuff, and that's when I had to go to the doctor and found out my diagnosis. And initially, it wasn't that big of a problem. I was just in a back brace for a little while and everything was going to be okay.
When you break your back, it's hard to do anything. Normal activities throughout the day are tough because I've broken my back and it's just not fun to do.
Once Army found out, with the coaches it was okay, and then once we got to April, we started getting in contact with the actual school, going through the physical evaluations. And that's when we really ran into trouble. So it was really late in the recruiting process. I had already committed when I found out I couldn't go to Army. They wanted me to prove that I had completely healed, and according to them, it took a year for that to happen.
From there, the process became even more difficult. A letter in late spring changed everything. Army had decided after further evaluation that Cox was medically disqualified.
It was a tough letter to read because, this was middle of April, had nowhere to go, had committed there, had told every university that had recruited me up to that point that I had committed to Army. I had everything set, hadn't applied to any other schools. I was just completely lost and looking for answers.
Right when he got the letter from Army, he told me about it the day after or texted me the night of, and at that point, I just called Coach Faulkner, or texted Coach Faulkner because that was the person that was recruiting me at the time. and told him that Joel Cox was back, like on the market, I guess you could say. And since he's such a good player, like it'd be a shame for him not to go anywhere.
After the denial from the academy, Cox was forced to explore other options. Ball State was there with open arms.
Once we found out, he wasn't going to Army anymore, it was late in the spring, I believe, and we were always looking for good players. And we knew Joel really well, knew his family well, knew exactly what type of kid he was. So we were, definitely reached back out to him to see if he was still interested in Ball State. And once he was, we got him back up here, and we knew that late with the kid down the road, and as good as a player as he was, but also what type of kid he was. He was kind of a can't-miss kid for us, and we kind of went full bore after him.
Knowing that the chances aren't very good for someone to sit out a year and then go back to college. And once I got the offer, it was relieving, and I was really excited to be here.
3 years later, the game has began to slow down for Cox. He knows his role, and he accepts it.
This year, my impact on special teams is mostly on field goal block. I've had 3 this year, and it's something that I take a lot of pride in. It's at one point it was really like one of the only aspects of the game that I could impact. So it was really exciting for me, something I took very seriously. Hopefully I can get a couple more, but it's always exciting because you can change the course of a game just by one play. It's crazy how everything works out, but it worked out better for me. Army was a great opportunity, and the door closed, but another open, and I don't regret it at all. I love Ball State. I love being here on campus. Everybody that's here, the football team is great. The coaches are great. It's just a great fit for me.
He's everything we're looking for, and what I mean by that, he's a team guy. He competes in all phases of his life, and when we talk about that a lot as a program, that guys that just compete on the football field, they're not true competitors. You can't just turn that stuff on and off like a water faucet. And he's a guy that in everything he does, he tries to do the best he can be, and he definitely rubs off on the younger guys, and he's exactly what we thought he was.
At that point, you look at yourself and wonder what you could have done differently to not be in that situation. It was really rough, but it was those things you have to lean on those who love you, and just ended up working out the best for me. I wasn't really looking for anything, but it came to me.
For Ball State Sports Link, I'm Josh Blessing.
And Cox has played in all 10 games so far this season. He's had 3 blocked kicks, which is pretty unheard of.
It's very impressive. In fact, those block kicks put him 2nd in the nation for block kicks, so pretty cool for Joel.
Very impressive. Now on to basketball. Forward Chris Bond is now an upperclassman in his junior year here at Ball State, and he knows it is his time to take on a leadership role. Coach Taylor says he is a high-flying athlete, and this season's focus is consistency. Learn more about Bond in this story produced by Emily Barker as part of our 13 and 13 series.
Being consistent with what I do, just rebounding, slashing, finishing at the basket, stuff like that, and just being consistent with my defense, getting more steals and stuff like that. Now for the team, I think we just, want to just win ball games and win a MAC championship and go from there. We met with Coach the other day. He told us just more of a finisher, attacker, slashing more. Just being consistent with what I do, really.
I think with Chris, we know that he's a high-flying athlete. He runs the floor well. He can finish in transition. Now it's about him really doing it more consistently over the course of the entire season. He's got so much potential in his ability to get to the rim, to finish above the rim, play with a high motor. And he's also proven to be a very good defensive rebounder, and that can be a force for us on our team.
I mean, I'm close with all the teammates really, but I just try to talk to all the freshmen, you know, just point out the points they need to know before the coach tells them so they know what to do before that. Some of them came in the summertime, so they got to feel how the team, how everything works, how the program works. I mean, I think they fit in pretty good. You know, just a lot of things they got to learn. I think they'll be fine though.
Chris shows very good leadership. He just does it in a very different way. He is very quiet. He's more soft-spoken. So a lot of times he'll have good feedback for our younger players. And I've seen him be more assertive this year in terms of trying to help communicate with the younger guys on the team. And I think he's doing a great job so far.
I mean, they're very important to me because we lost some key components to our team. Now we got guys that can come in and shoot, dribble, like Marcus, he's really fast, get to the paint, you know. I mean, I'm very excited to see what they're going to bring to the table when the season starts.
Bond should be a pretty familiar face out on the court this year. Dating back to his freshman year, he started each of the last 40 games for Ball State.
It's good to see that someone with a history like that is actually wanting to step up and help out the freshman class.
Well, Ashley, since I've stepped over and joined you here, Katie Hargett will be taking over our Sounds of the Game segment. And Katie, you got some big shoes to fill.
Thanks, Pat, but I don't think my tiny feet are going to have any issue filling your big shoes. And this month, we're going to be continuing SportsLink Sounds of the Games, where we pair up different SportsLink highlights with the call from SportsLink Radio. This month's edition from Ball State's victory over 25th ranked Toledo. This month's Sounds of the Game is presented by Robbins Apparel.
Election night in America, but another very important race is taking shape. The race for the Mid-American Conference West Division. As the Red Republicans and the Blue Democrats battle for Washington tonight, the Red of BSU and Blue of Toledo will have the MAC race. The votes are in, and they say it's time to play football. Showing blitz on the outside when he takes the snap, drops, looks, rolls in the end zone, looking for Jamil. He's got it and scores! Touchdown, Ball State! A 6-yard pass and catch from Keith Wenning to Jamil Smith, and the Cardinals do put it in for 6. They lead 6-0. Wenning takes the snap, drops the throw, steps up, looks, rolls right side over the middle. Connor has it to the 11, to the 10, makes the man miss to the 5, dives and scores! Touchdown, Connor Ryan! A great move by Connor, and the Cardinals lead 13-0. Owens in the gun. McDowell, his running back. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Takes the snap, gives him no pay fake. Looks, throws deep over the middle. Reedy is wide open, and he scores. Touchdown, Bernard Reedy. Somehow the Cardinals let him get behind, and Toledo responds with a touchdown of their own. In motion from left to right. Owens takes the snap, goes to Fluellen. He's got the first down, and he will score. Touchdown, David Fluellen on 4th and 1, a 16-yard run, and Toledo has taken their first lead of the game, 26-24. Vonda will hold. This is for a tie. Snap is there, it's down, the kick is up, it's on the way, and it is good. Penetration here, Pat. Owens looking over four-man front, takes the snap, hands off to Fluellen, dances, hit. He is short. He is short, and the Cardinals stop on 4th and 1. Running in the gun, takes the snap, gives to Edwards. Edwards dances, has the first down at the 40. Edwards to the 45, 50, and is thrown down at the 45. A gutsy call. Maybe if Juwan Edwards is lucky enough, he can bust one free. We'll see. Running's in shotgun. Edwards to his left. 1:49 to go in the football game. 27-27 is the score. Edwards moves to the right of Wenning. He takes the snap, gives to Juwan. Cuts in the backfield, tries to bounce to the outside of the 15. Juwan to the 10 to the 5. Touchdown, Cardinals! Juwan Edwards runs it in from 15 yards out. Dead silent here at the Glass Bowl. And Ball State wins 34-27. They come into the number 25 team in the nation's house and give them their second loss on the year and their first at home. Most importantly, the bowl picture looking pretty darn good at 7-3.
Now that victory is the first time Ball State has beat a ranked team since 2001, when oddly enough, they also beat Toledo. Ball State SportsLink is your social media leader for all Ball State sports. For a peek inside Ball State athletics, let's check out some tweets from November. From defensive line coach Chad Wilt, congrats to @NickMiles. Doing it for being named MAC West Defensive Player of the Week. Love seeing the guys being successful. Austin Holtz tweeted after the victory at Toledo, "Probably the biggest win I have been a part of here at Ball State. Couldn't be happier for my boys. Hashtag rise up." After the season opener, men's basketball alum Jared Jones tweeted, "Congrats to Ball State men's basketball on their first win of the season. 1-0. Keep it up. Hashtag BSU, hashtag Hoop Squad, hashtag alum." And men's basketball guard Austin Fox showing some support for his fellow student athletes. "Dang, tough loss for the women's volleyball team. Hopefully they can pick it up for the MAC tourney." And our final tweet, women's volleyball player Jackie Seidel tweeted, "Getting excited for the MAC tournament this weekend. Hashtag BSU volleyball, hashtag chirp chirp." For more from Inside Ball State Athletics, search Ball State SportsLink on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at BSU SportsLink. That's it from the social media world. Pat, Ashley, back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. And back to that Toledo game. What a fun environment. Election night, beating a ranked opponent. Pretty special for the team.
And the Rockets had won 8 straight games before that loss to Ball State, so definitely a big win for the Cardinals.
Well, one of the more remarkable stories that we've done here at Ball State SportsLink is that of Jake Brehmer, who after a horrific diving accident returned to the sport he loves. Learn more about Brehmer in this story, Diving Over Fear, produced by Chris Rankel, Chris Kaczynski, and Emily Barker, presented by WMDH.
Diving is a sport a lot like life itself. It has its ups and its downs. You fall and you get back up. And being able to manage so many unpredictable twists and turns takes intense physical and mental concentration. Unless you're Ball State junior diver Jake Brehmer, then diving's just what you do.
If you ask most divers, say to really focus and try and visualize their dive. I don't like doing that because if I focus on it, I kind of worry about it. So I just kind of try and go up there and not think about it.
Jake is a fun teammate. When you come into practice, he always has a smile on his face, and he's just this unbelievably good diver.
He's doing very well, and quite impressed with the progress he's made since that day.
But Jake's diving career was one that almost ended before it had a chance to take off. In an unthinkable twist that would require all of Jake's physical and mental toughness to overcome.
With my freshman year, it was the Doug Coors Invite.
We only had one more dive left. Jake is up there, and I just remember I was standing next to one of my teammates, and we were watching him, and we saw him take off, and we knew he was going to be close.
All of a sudden, everybody kind of stopped, and all this commotion went over to the pool. Someone said, Jake hit the board.
I didn't jump back enough. I just jumped straight up and flipped twice, and when I came around, I smashed my face, all my face on the board.
Everyone was dead silent. The swimming stopped, everything stopped. No one knew what to do.
One of my friends, Jeremy, he jumped in. He was a senior my freshman year, and swam me to the side, and then they got me on the backboard and pumped me full of medicine. It's hard to remember everything.
For weeks afterwards, I relived that same noise of him hitting the board, and it was just shock.
This was by far the worst accident I've ever seen.
Jake was rushed to the local Ball Memorial Hospital for 4 hours before being transferred to a hospital in nearby Indianapolis.
I went and saw him at the hospital that night in the emergency room. To tell you the extent of his injury, I couldn't recognize him.
It was then the extent of his injuries became clear. Jake had broken both cheekbones, his jaw, knocked out 3 teeth, and crushed his nose, breaking it in 4 places. He underwent surgeries to reconstruct his nose and insert metal plates in his cheekbones and jaw.
I think the worst part was my jaw being wired shut because I could eat only liquids, and it's just so weird going to all liquids. You're never full. It's not even eating. I lost a lot of weight.
We saw him 2 days later. We went and visited him down in the hospital, and we expected him to be, not quite himself, but we walked into the room, and even though his jaw was wired shut, he still kind of smiled, and he was joking around with us.
you know, to stop and think about what he had been through, most people would have just hung it up.
Like after most of the surgeries, got home to recover. My mom always asking me about it every day. She's like, "You're not going back, are you?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like I think I am, because I still love diving, obviously." Doctors said it's fine. Just they said if this happens again, it'll be a lot more serious. After I got my jaw unwired and like all of that was done, I started with weight training again, like in the weight room here, and then dry land training, which is like trampoline, and then dry board, which is just a diving board, but you land on a mat. Just really slowly, gradually working up to diving again.
After getting knocked down, the only choice for Jake was to get back up. After months of training, Jake once again took the boards and dove back into the sport he loved. Despite everything he had been through, Jake Brehmer emerged with his love of diving unscathed.
He got back on, and I mean, he had no fear. Like if that happened to me, I could never get back on a diving board.
Think about the conscious mind when you get up on the board. Are you going to replay that injury in your head and prevent yourself from performing an adequate dive? It doesn't seem to bother him. You know, it would have been, I guess, an easy way out, not to get back up there. You know, I think the sky's the limit.
It made me stronger, like mentally, because if I can go through this and then be fine, I don't want to say make it through anything, but there's not much that would stop me, mentally at least. Since then, I haven't even thought about it, to be honest.
Even though he doesn't think about it, what Brehmer overcame took more mental strength than even the most difficult dive. After all, they say diving is all mental. For Ball State Sports Link, I'm Chris Renkel.
Wow, that is incredible to see him get back on the board after such an horrific accident. I mean, his whole face. I got bucked off of a horse in 5th grade. I showed in 4-H and got bucked off, broke 2 bones in my wrist. I could never get up on a horse again after that, and I know you had a similar experience with a skateboard.
Yeah, broken arm on a skateboard. Haven't been back on it since, but SportsLink, we've luckily found it a much lower injury rate.
Yes, we have. Now, senior Emilee Zets played multiple sports before she eventually got talked into running cross country for Ball State. With her hometown in Ohio, Zets came to Ball State knowing little about the school, but has grown to love the teams that she's been a part of. Here's her In Focus story produced by Luke Magzaman, presented by Table X.
My name is Emily. I'm a senior on the cross country team. We were looking around different schools, trying to find schools that had my major, trying to find a school to run at. My mom found Ball State in Indiana. Didn't really know, really anything about it. Knew their football team was good, and we sent in a recruiting form, and coaches called me, and that's how I ended up here. Cross country was never, the cross country coach always tried to get me into cross country, and well, not always, but everyone tried to get me to run cross, but I was not having it. I did not want to run cross country. It was actually very different because I had never experienced it, straight from soccer to basketball and then into track. And track was awesome, loved track. And I came into college and I was like, I'm gonna hate cross country, but I'm actually starting to like it, so it's good. My major is exercise science, so my career choice would probably helping people. I love helping people. I love helping people be more healthy. So I'm thinking about going to corporate wellness. So that's going into a big company and basically working out their employees, keeping them healthy. We're a crazy team. There's so many things going through my mind right now of what we do, and We jumped in the creek for picture day. Everyone's so, like, the dynamic on the team is so awesome. We're like a family. It's like when someone went, hey, I got to go to Walmart. All right, yeah, I'm coming too. Or, you know, we're so close. We don't hold anything back with each other. It's fun. They're a fun group of girls to be around, and I'm gonna miss them. I'm gonna miss them when I graduate.
Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Search BSU SportsLink. Also, check out all of our stories on our website, ballstatesports.com/sportslink.
That's all the time we have for the November edition of SportsLink's Be a Fan. But for our producer, Kevin Thurman, all of us here at SportsLink, thanks for watching. I'm Ashley Reed.
And I'm Pat Boylan.
And we'll see you next month.